And Mattel, this is where you need to put your money where your mouth is, or put your mouth where my money is, or my money where your mouth is, or my money where my mouth is. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's going into a very dark place. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Yeah. Tonight, I'm taking a look at the Mattel DC Comics Multiverse Batwoman. You've heard me say before, Mattel needs to step up their game, and with Batwoman, this is their last chance with me. And I say last chance like it's some life and death thing, but they may come out with figures later that may catch my eye. But as far as this wave goes, and what Mattel is doing at the moment, this Batwoman is the determining factor for me, if I'm going to buy any more. In the package right now, she looks great, but I don't know. I have to see what she's like in hand. Looking at the package, it's some new packaging, which is very welcome to this line. It needs a reboot, it needs a change, but I kind of feel like they just took the red and made it blue and put this weird kick in at the bottom and just kind of called it new. Now, saying that, I do like it. It blends a little bit better than the old red boxes. It's very sparse with the words, but again, why put the warning right up on the front? You have the warning in English up here. You have what looks like the same warnings right there. Get to the back, you have what I'm guessing again is the same warnings down here at the bottom. And I think Mattel has something against showing you the CNC figures too, at least, you know, fully. Here's Clayface, he's half behind here. His arm or leg or whatever the hell that is hidden back here. With the Dr. Psycho wave, you couldn't even see the parts unless you just got in there and looked behind the cardboard. So I don't know what they're doing there. I feel like they should take those parts and make them fully visible, because for a lot of people, the Build-A-Figure, or the Collect and Connect is the big selling point for most of these waves. On the side, we get a nice comic shot of Batwoman. On the back, same shot, little bio, the rest of the characters in the wave, shot of the Collect and Connect Clayface. That's really hard to say fast. Down here, more warnings, more unreadables, probably says, we know. We know. We're trying. On the other side, again, same graphic. On the top, just DC logo. On the bottom, more unreadables, more legalese. But I'm going to get this out of the package and see exactly what's going on here, and if Mattel gets to stay in the toy room. And there we go, all out of the package. And I'll have to say, Mattel, you are trying, but you still got a ways to go. A little bit of frustration here. Looking at the sculpt itself, you can see, of course, that it's an action figure. It's going to have some odd proportions here and there. But for the most part, I do love the silhouette of this figure. I especially like it more than the old DC Universe Classics female body, where it's thin in places, the legs are a little bit long. This figure is a little bit more bulked out, a little bit more shapely. Yeah, the hips cut in a little bit more to add that extra articulation to, I was going to say update the articulation there, but that may not be the right term. The different kind of articulation we're seeing at the hips now. But again, it's that changing. It's different. It has to accommodate the new articulation, so it'll look a little bit different from your classics figures. And then for the most part, the body is in black and red. The boot tops aren't sculpted. They're just painted on, but the glove tops are sculpted, even though the paint missed on the left side. The emblem on the chest looks fantastic. The belt, we'll get to here in a minute, I do dig it. And then you get up to the head. At first you think the skin tone is pale, it has no shading to it, but that's what I associate to Batwoman. She has that pale skin tone. They nailed it here, I feel like. The gloss red of the lips stand out against that. Again, very defining trait of Batwoman. I like the hair sculpt. It has some shading in it. That's kind of awesome to see for this line. And then the overall sculpt of the helmet just works. Just to point it out, you can see the red paint went higher than the glove mark right there. But the big thing here is the new articulation. I like it for the most part. They're moving in the right direction, but there's still some hiccups. You pull the head off, which we'll look at in a second, but I almost called it a dumbbell joint, but down at the bottom it's just a forward and back hinge. I don't know why they just didn't make it another ball, hollow out the neck, and give you full range of movement side to side. As is, the ball at the top works fairly... Oh, well, that's another thing, too. While I'm talking about that, this feels kind of thin and rubbery, but there would have been more side-to-side movement if they had went with the traditional dumbbell joint. The same goes for the torso. The bottom is just forward and back, and because of that, you can kind of shift it. There's a ball up there, I think. It's the same with the head. You can shift forward and back there. The hips probably should have been a ball, but they give you most of the range of motion that you would see with a ball. And the belt, they did a good job of gluing it in the front and I believe in the back, but it lifts up on the sides to get out of the way of the hip articulation. I think that my biggest thing is the lack of range in the elbows and the looseness of the knees. Oh, well, not the biggest thing. Ankles. Mattel, you gotta have rocker ankles if you're gonna pack this much articulation into a figure. You can't utilize half the leg movement if you can't put the feet flat on the floor. They could have easily done a forward-facing pin because the ankle hinge is actually a separate piece going into the foot. I feel like if I heated it up, I could pop it. So I don't know why they just didn't make the pin going forward instead of down. That it would have been an easy fix. On top of that, stability issues because of the looseness of the knees here. The top knee joint has detents in it. It locks, well, two of them anyway. Once you get past the two, it's loose from there back. It's not, well, never mind. It is floppy. But you try to stand her up because of the cape, it makes her a little bit back heavy. You're going to have issues standing her up. She kind of collapses under her own weight. I didn't even try right there, but trying to get her there, and you can do it, but it makes me sound like I'm griping about the double knees. Those can be tightened. Well, there's not even detents on this side. They even went as far as to cover the peg holes, which is good and bad at the same time because I can't get in there to like maybe pop it or freeze it or heat it up or try to squeeze it together to make it a little bit tighter. I'll have to use some nail polish or something else to tighten up those joints. And then at the elbows, the range there, they didn't cut very far into the forearm, so you get to about right there. Not that great. Mattel is moving forward in the articulation department. So I'm griping, but I'm kind of not griping. I'm like, yay, new articulation. It just needs to be tweaked a bit. Going over articulation, like I talked about, you can look down, up, not so much because of the hair. A little bit of tilt, but that's more the peg flexing than it is actually moving on that ball. Hinge and swivel at the shoulder comes up to, well, way past 90, then swivels around. Hinge and swivel at the elbow, like I talked about, doesn't make 90, and then swivels back and forth. Hinge and swivel at the wrist, there. Ball joint with the forward and back pin in the torso. When you go back too far, it opens up a gap. Again, they're working on it. Side to side a little bit, but not a lot. Hinge and swivel at the hips comes all the way forward. There's that bottom knee right there. Back, not so much, runs into the butt. Out, not terrible. In fact, it's better than some Marvel Legends I've seen. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee comes most of the way up. And then just a hinge at the ankle. Goes back, goes forward. And for those, as loose as the knees are, the ankles seem really tight. For accessories, Batwoman comes with an alternate head. Now, I want to gripe about this too. It looks kind of plain, but at the same time, Mattel did a fairly nice job in painting the eyes. The eyebrows, not so much. They're kind of uneven. The lips, painted nicely. And then as nice as the eyes are painted, they are kind of crooked. It's almost like the left side of her face kind of rises up, while the sculpt kind of leans to the right. There's something weird going on. But to change that out, like I said, you pop that off. You pop the other head on, and it's tight fit into that head. Now looking at this, it looks a little bit small on the body, but I think that's just because I get used to the hair and the mask on the other head. I believe the heads are actually the same size. And while I have this head on, the cape, it's a fairly soft material. It's not super soft, but it'll get up out of the way if you're wanting to get her into poses, which, because of the articulation being loose, it's a little hard to do without a stand. And that's it for accessories for the main figure, but she does come with these CNC parts for Clayface, and that would be the hips. It's essentially the crotch, the top of the legs. I'm getting you to look at a Clayface crotch. Haha. And then the head, which makes me super interested in actually finishing this out, as much as I don't really care for the rest of the figures in this wave. Because there is a nice amount of articulation here. Legs go all the way out, legs go, well, seem to go all the way forward. And then for the head, it's not as nice as the prototype looked like. The brown is a little bit duller. He essentially looks like a Golgothan. But it does look interesting. The eyes stand out against that, and the jaw is hinged here. Now, when you have the mouth all the way closed, again, there's a gap right there. And with the mouth open, you can see the extra rows of teeth. Apparently, that is accurate to the look. I don't know this version, but It's creepy, it's cool, and it makes me want the rest of the wave. For comparison, here she is with the DC Universe Classics Wonder Woman. Not as big as I thought she would be. I thought that Mattel was moving in a larger direction, but she's actually shorter than Wonder Woman. I am completely good with that. Of course, she's thicker, she looks more muscular, which I don't like, but maybe we'll see a new classic Wonder Woman at some point. Here she is with Classics Cheetah. Larger, but of course that Cheetah came out really small. I gripe at Mattel now for changing scales and, having different sizes, but they've always been that way. And then here she is with what I call the Brave and the Bold Batman. It's one of the few DC Universe Classics Batmans that I have out. I feel like this is great size between the two, and proportions. She fits right in with those older Classics figures. In fact, I feel like she kind of fits in better with the males than the old Classics females. Here she is with the Marvel Legends Mary Jane from the Spider-Man 2-pack. Larger, but it fits body-wise. And then here she is with the Marvel Legends Rogue. Again, a little bit taller, but here you can really see the similarities in the bodies. The shapes of it, the proportions, yeah, this isn't bad. If you wanted to mix and match, this would work. And then just for the pure hell of it, here she is with the Star Wars Black Series Stormtrooper, because maybe you want Batwoman in space. So at the end of the day, I feel like Mattel is moving in the right direction. They're just not there yet. Now, I used to be a huge fan of this line, the articulation. I liked how the hips didn't really break up until you got to the swivel. The hips look good until you actually try to use them. I like how Mattel is trying to evolve here. I can see taking this neck articulation, this torso articulation, keep on tweaking it, keep the same basic concept, but increasing the range of movement. I can totally see that. But you're going to have to put some detents in the knees, tighten those up a little bit, increase the range of articulation in the elbows, and give these damn things a rocker ankle. That is completely essential. You need to do... I'm talking like Mattel's actually watching this. Maybe everybody can rally around. Tell Mattel, that's weird to say. Tell Mattel that we need ankle rockers. I'm interested in the rest of the figures now. I've seen pictures of Superman where he looks like Tiny Crotch. His legs are a little bit small on the older Classics torso that's big and buff and just huge. And I'd especially like to see my Clayface completed. So, not a lot of faith, but I'm interested. You just haven't whipped the line yet. Sunk that hook. I like where this is going, though. And like I said way earlier, this Batwoman cuts a mean silhouette. She just looks awesome standing there, imposing. And I may do some fixes here and there. I may give it the forward-facing pin. I may tighten the knees just to get her on the shelf. I kind of wish she came with a Batarang or something. She came with a grip hand, nothing to hold. But I have plenty of Batarangs from older figures. She's definitely shelf-worthy. But I'm basing that on look more than function. Although function's getting up there. Because the extreme poses still look stiff, still need to be worked on there, but that goes all the way down to the ankles and stability. Standing straight up and down, yeah, that's where it's at least here. Not bad, Mattel. Let's see what you can do next. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.